Hey Mojoholics, welcome to Inside Watch Mojo episode 15. We just crossed 3 billion with a B all-time views on YouTube, so thank you very much for that. I cannot get over these numbers. Anyway, so as you can see, we are not in the office with people working behind us. We are in our new studio, which is still a work in progress, but we have begun shooting here, right?
Yeah, I believe Chris Mason shot yesterday here his the first episode of Know Your Mojo. That's going to be the trivia series, where basically each entry is a question. So if you were to do top 10 skyscrapers, you know, number 10 could be the Empire State Building is the largest, the tallest skyscraper in the U.S. True or false?
Right.
Obviously, that's false. It's the Willis Tower out in Chicago, formerly the Sears Tower, and that will be we'll be publishing the first one this weekend, I believe.
Cool. Now, last week we lied to you and said that Derek was going to be on this week, and he's actually going to be on next week when you are in New York. What are you doing there?
Yeah, so basically next week is the NewFront in New York, which is basically like where advertisers and media companies come down and just, you know, drink a lot and tell each other very inappropriate
That's what
stories.
all conferences are, aren't they?
A lot of conferences involve drinking. I am always very impressed with the amount of booze. In this industry in particular, I mean, think Mad Men. It's kind of, you know, advertisers are the flip of the coin of the publishing world. There's a lot of drinking and partying, and it's a fun crowd, right? We're not boring people generally. Not that there are boring people in any other industry, but so anyway, I will be there. I will stop talking about inappropriate things, but basically, I'll be there, and I'm going to be going to YouTube's Brandcast. I actually met, I meet a lot of like YouTubers as well at these events. So last year I met Matthew Santoro at fellow YouTuber at a YouTube shindig.
Did we feature him on the Topics episode, the Make You Smarter channels?
Not because I met him, because he deserved it, but yeah, he was on a Topics, maybe episode 13, 14, 15, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So Derek is going to be on next week though, for sure?
Yeah, Derek, we got enough dirt on him, liquored him up. He said very inappropriate things, so we convinced him to come on. So he will be on next week. And also, maybe next week will be Chris Mason's second series that he will be producing.
Okay.
Like Watch Mojo News, this one will be called Watch Mojo Facts, we think. But this one will be just, you know, factual topics that we may not cover as much. What's the first one he's working on? It was really...
He's working on superhero technologies, which is like actual technologies that exist that superheroes might use. It's kind of like what Morgan Freeman does in the Batman movies, I think.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But anyway, but like real ones. So I wanted to take this opportunity to wish one of our most fervent Mojoholics a very happy birthday. I believe Morgan Pierce is celebrating her birthday today. So happy birthday, a true renaissance.
You know what's crazy? With 7.5 million subscribers, if you just take the average, that means today 19,999 others share Morgan's birthday. That's nuts, right? And I wish we could wish you all a happy birthday. I wish you all a happy birthday.
Just assume I am at all times wishing everyone happy birthday.
Yeah, it's hard because we get these requests that look, everything that we do at Watch Mojo, the core principle is kind of service. We're here to serve you guys. That's why we have the suggestions. That's why we publish more and more videos. It's because we want to make you guys happy and take these concepts and turn them to videos. And we get these requests like, I want to propose to my girlfriend. Could you like surprise her in a video? My friend's doing a bar mitzvah. Could you wish him happy bar mitzvah?
We did the proposal one.
We did the proposal one. We had about 1 million subscribers. I think it was back in 2013. So we got like the odd request once every little while. But these days we get a lot more, and it does make me a bit sad that we can't do them. I don't want to be that guy, but at the same time I'm like, look, if we spend time doing all of these or some of these, then we can't do the videos, and that's really what drives us. Look, we invested in a new studio to be able to do more videos, to be able to just get, you know, those ideas into the machine and process faster. But in any case, happy birthday to you and all the others celebrating today, and yeah, that is nuts.
So a bit of a segue into, you mentioned something about doing more health clips.
Yes, possibly. So you guys have noticed that we're doing the odd food video, the odd travel video, the odd lifestyle. And as I mentioned this last week, as our audience expands, our audience goes from being, let's say, the film buffs that, let's say, initially it might have even been the comic book origin buffs, then the film buffs, then the video game buffs. But once you start, it's just basic stats. Once you start to get really big, you start to represent the broader population. with some realities and adjustments to the fact that we have a lot of guys who watch the series and the videos. But so we do get a lot more interest for more mainstream topics. And one of the things we notice in the viewing patterns is our older health videos are getting a bit more views. So we made.
Which ones?
I have to break down the
Okay.
data a bit more. I just noticed this literally as we said, hey, what are we talking about?
Okay.
But it was something I started to look into. But by the time that this is published, there is going to be a poll underneath. We would love your feedback. So, are you interested in top 10 ways to, I don't know, lose your gut? Top 10, ways to make sure you, have a healthy heart, or top 10 ways to quit drinking, or top 10 ways to whatever, And then should these be in top 10 format? Probably. Or it could be something like, versus what is worse for you, drinking or smoking? That could be interesting. What's healthier? Smoking is probably worse. I gave it away. Spoiler alert. No, or it could even be like, what's worse for you, a pizza or a hamburger? I guess it depends what you put in the pizza or the hamburger. But these are like kind of what we say by health.
That's cool.
That's it. It could work. That's all we do. Is we sit here and we just think up of these things. That's what we get paid. That's not all we do, actually. We do a lot more. You do a lot more. I just pretend to be busy. So we want you to tell us, first of all, if you'd be interested in health clips. Then if you'd be interested in the format, top 10 versus whatever. If you want it to be a lot of B-roll. So when you talk about how to avoid a heart attack, should we use a scene of an actor getting a heart attack? Like the SNL, Chris Farley scene, the Bears fans. Or should it be, hosted by a doctor or a health expert? We want your feedback. Everything we do is to serve you. So it kind of makes sense to ask you that question.
All right, speaking of feedback, we need yours on some suggest pages, so check these out. Top 10 Nicki Minaj songs, top 10 free-to-play mobile games, and top 10 idiotic anime characters. All right, I thought all anime characters were idiots.
Does Nicki Minaj have 10 songs to begin with? Are we doing that? I see that one getting a lot of downvotes, but who knows?
I'm not going to comment.
Yep.
But I want to. Anyway, this week I am working on top 10. These are two separate lists, but they are related, as you can see. Top 10 cutest animals and top 10 ugliest animals.
That's very subjective, but
Not
beauty's
really.
in the eye of
Everybody
the beholder.
loves sloths, but they're like E.T. cute. No, they're just cute. They're just cute.
What's your favorite? What do you find is the cutest animal?
Okay, I don't remember what it's called.
Make sure she's not researching that one.
Yeah, I know. I don't remember. But
And you're working on
tiny
this?
thing with giant eyes.
Okay, yeah, I think.
But it's really cute.
I ate one of those for breakfast. No, I'm kidding. That's disgusting. I'm just kidding. So So we got an email from the folks over at Heritage Canada.
Historica,
yeah. So basically, they used to do. If you're Canadian, you grew up watching these burnt toast ads. Okay.
Okay, they're called Heritage Minutes.
So basically, they said, look, we would love it if you guys did something to promote something, whatever. So we're like, okay, and we don't like to say no. We like to make people happy. That's what drives us. So we're like kind of start to discuss. We said this might be too niche. It might be too Canadian. People wouldn't get it. But the idea that we kind of like work backwards into, again, because that's all we do, or that's a lot of what we do, is we said, what if we kind of just did, without complicating our lives too much, what if we just did top 10 iconic commercials you grew up watching or you remember from your childhood? Right. And obviously, I think it would have to be per decade. Because I was born in 78, so I watched certain ads, but if some dude, was born in 1998, they're gonna be watching very different ads. So the nuances, we'll probably do it by decade. What we're kind of leaning towards is, do we just do this North American centric? US-centric. Canadian-centric we can't do because our audience is so global, whether we like it or not. But what we thought of doing is also adding an international dimension to it. Either you guys, and this is why we have the poll, so we need your direction. Do we do one where it's like one per country? Or do we just look at our top biggest markets on YouTube? So US, UK, Canada, Australia, India, Sweden, Philippines, wherever those 10 countries are, one per. So you guys should just vote. You're gonna get a say on the countries, or you always bash us for being so American-centric. Here's your chance, people. And basically, what were the ads that you grew up? Because in the US, I always think of that, this is your brain, this is your brain on drugs. So the Heritage Minutes were kind of similar, or like a bit like The More You Know, but more like Canadiana.
They're just like short films. They're not really commercials. They're more like short films that kind of illustrate an important moment in Canadian history. So Burnt Toast was
one
like
of them.
some doctor who studied brains, and it was important.
Yeah. we'll be doing the health clips ourselves. as you can
So
tell.
the Heritage Minutes top 10 is off the table?
I'm not saying it's off the table.
No? Okay.
Maybe.
So you should tell us if that interests you.
As well, sure. We'll create that suggestion page and you guys can upvote it or downvote it.
All right. So last week we had a contest, actually 2 weeks ago we had a contest to give away 6 Blu-ray copies of Into the Woods and nobody entered. So last week we ran it again. And fortunately we did have 6 people enter and win. Actually it was more than 6, but anyway. So this one was only for our Canadian fans. So we asked you guys to tweet us the title of your Canadian fairy tale. And here are the winning submissions. The Three Little Beavers, or The Tale of Two Brothers. It's about the Sedin twins. Sorry, I chopped down your Sorry, I chopped down your beanstalk, eh? Butcher, Baker, Back Bacon Maker. Leafs win the cup. Alice in Newfoundland, which is my favorite. So check out the description to see if your username is there to see if you won. And if it is there, you don't forget to email us at contest@WatchMojo.com to claim your prize and send us your shipping info. So this week, we're asking you guys to send us a picture that shows you how you watch WatchMojo, if that is clear. Do you watch it on a computer? Do you watch it on a TV? Full screen? Multiple screens? On your phone? Do you have snacks? Do you watch it with friends? Whatever. Send us a picture on Twitter or Instagram with the hashtag WMQuestion and tune in next week to see if you won. How do you watch?
I mean, I'd be lying if I said usually it's probably still on my laptop, but I could see mobile is already starting to. I mean, mobile's already the first screen in the world. More people watch stuff and
people must have more data a month than I do.
But what's interesting is we do see more and more people watching WatchMojo on the big screen, and as we transition to HD, that makes that even more entertaining.
Cool. All right, we're finishing things up with the comment of the week, which was on our Shortcuts skit where we berated the Office Ottawa Senators fan because we are all Montreal Canadiens fans. Well, all of us except for a camera guy who is a Vancouver Canucks fan. Anyway, what are you gonna do? So Noobmaster117 said, sports are stupid. Go back to important things like comic books, video games, nostalgic cartoons, etc. Nobody wants to hear about a bunch of morons bashing into each other on an ice rink. I do.
And those indeed are the most important things in life. Comic books, video games, etc.,
Of course.
etc.
Sports are stupid. See you next week.